Quarterback play can be the difference between a playoff run and staring down a top 5 draft pick to try and find a guy that actually can deliver that kind of season. What's most interesting, though, is that quarterbacks don't stay the same forever. And better yet, their growth isn't linear. Meaning that from year to year, there's a significant variance in what level even some of the most established names are performing at. One year, a guy looks like the future in the league, and the next, he is struggling to keep his job. That's just the reality of playing the most scrutinized position in professional sports. So without further ado, let's take a look at 6 quarterbacks ready to take a step forward and 6 that are about to take a step back. Step forward, Jalen Hurts, Philadelphia Eagles. There is obvious reason for Birds fans to be excited about their signal caller coming off a Super Bowl win, especially considering how well he played. That said, the last time Jalen Hurts played in a Super Bowl, he left zero doubt about whether he could be that guy. Unfortunately, the Eagles roster took a bit of a hit after that magical 2022 run, and 2023, well, it was a mess. Coaching drama, offensive struggles, and a late-season collapse that sent Philly packing early. But now, heading into 2025, the offense still has all the right pieces around him returning. And unlike the last time he played great in the big game, which, lest we forget, he actually won this go-around. All things considered, Hurts is a leader and the heartbeat of the offense. Now he looks poised to elevate his game further and dismiss the remaining doubters that haven't crawled back under their rocks. Step back, Geno Smith, Las Vegas Raiders. Look for the Geno Smith and Raiders marriage to go the way of many Las Vegas nuptials. Look, I understand that Vegas was kind of forced into this after missing on last year's quarterback draft class, and it's unlikely that they can get a top passer at number 6 in the upcoming draft. So yeah, why not roll the dice with Smith? But I could see this looking like a slightly worse version of Derek Carr in Sin City. They added a veteran who can sling the ball and run offense, but isn't quite ready to step forward and really elevate the team. Plus, Geno's kind of getting up there in age at this point. It's kind of asking a lot for him to get comfortable in a new offense with Chip Kelly, who isn't exactly known for catering to his players' strengths in the NFL. So all that considered, expect Geno to take a bit of a step back this year. Step forward, Daniel Jones, Indianapolis Colts. Shane Steichen's RPO-heavy and dynamic offense is a perfect fit for Daniel Jones' skill set. He can sprinkle in designed QB runs, work off of play action, and if he's actually healthy, give the Colts a legit dual-threat option behind center. Now, obviously, they have another guy with that ability in Anthony Richardson, but it seems clear that the Colts brass is growing weary with his inconsistent play and immature behavior. The smart money says that the Colts will play the best option at quarterback, meaning we could have a competition on our hands, one that Daniel Jones is very capable of winning. Hopefully, his pit stop in Minnesota with Kevin O'Connell taught him a thing or two, and if not, it had to at least be a relief to get out of that toxic situation out in New York. A change of scenery could have been all this quarterback needed to start actually earning his stripes in the NFL again, because if nothing else, a fresh start was necessary. And if he gets the nod over Anthony Richardson, well, he's got a real chance to resurrect his career. Step back, Sam Darnold, Seattle Seahawks. Moving from the Vikings offense to Seattle may be somewhat similar in terms of the general system, but make no mistake about it. This is a far worse situation than he was in last year in Minnesota, where he was able to revitalize his career. The Seahawks just dealt away their top targets in DK Metcalf, and while Jackson Smith-Njigba is developing into a nice player, they really don't have anyone to run opposite him. Yeah, if they build the offense back up around Darnold and hit on all the right pieces in the draft and free agency, sure, he's got a chance to replicate the success that he had in Minnesota. You know, where he threw 35 touchdown passes last season. But otherwise, this could be tough sledding for Darnold. Step forward, Justin Fields, New York Jets. After a couple of really painful years for Jets fans, they should have some reason to be excited heading into this season with the changes that they made at quarterback. Justin Fields looked good during the beginning of the 2024 campaign for the Steelers before Mike Tomlin made the ill-fated decision to hand Russell Wilson the starting job again. Furthermore, Fields' speed actually helps mitigate their concerns around the offensive line, which admittedly do still linger, but with all the talented skill players on the offensive side of the ball, we could see Fields really start to thrive. We've seen flashes of Fields' upside. We've seen him carve up defenses with his legs, and we've seen him make some very high-level throws. But there's always been something missing. However, the fit with new offensive coordinator Tanner Engstrand, who worked under Ben Johnson in Detroit, a system that was creative, dynamic, and explosive last season, might be the best opportunity of his career. So, we expect Fields to capitalize on that. In addition to the scheme, the personnel seems to suit him well too. He enters the squad with baked-in chemistry with Garrett Wilson from their Ohio State days being already established. And the rest of that group in New York makes up a pretty solid supporting cast, with Breece Hall and co. ready to prove that Rodgers was holding them back. Step back, Jared Goff, Detroit Lions. If you told a Lions fan a couple of years ago after they dealt away Matthew Stafford for Jared Goff that he would be playing the best football of his career, leading one of the most electric offenses in the NFL, they probably would have assumed that you were playing some elaborate joke on them. Well, everything seemed to click for Detroit last season. Goff was poised, efficient, and more aggressive than he had ever been. I mean, nearly 5,000 yards passing, 38 touchdowns, and the kind of offensive dominance that had fans genuinely believing that this team could make a Super Bowl run. Well, unfortunately, Ben Johnson is no longer there, meaning Jared Goff is going to have to learn to mesh with yet another OC. And that could lead to some regression, which would be very tough for Lions fans, especially with the sour taste in their mouths following their one-and-done exit from the playoffs last year, in which Goff played none too well. Granted, he did set the bar pretty dang high, but don't expect another season like last year's out of Goff. There is a lot of pressure on him now, and without Johnson's steady hand guiding the offense, we should expect to see his production take a noticeable dip. Step forward, Bryce Young, Carolina Panthers. Look, his rookie season was ugly, but let's be real. He had nothing to work with, and heading into 2024, for Bryce Young, expectations were so low that he almost had to exceed them. Crazy thing is, it took him getting benched and his career being put on life support for him to do so, even with Dave Canales, who orchestrated Geno Smith's resurgence in Seattle, coming in as the head coach. But in any case, he did in fact exceed them. Young played really impressive football in the second half of the year, after he found his way back into the lineup, to the point that even the most cynical Panthers fans are starting to believe and see the vision again. So, if Carolina can make one or two strategic moves around him this offseason, do not be surprised if we see a Pro Bowl year out of the former Alabama star. Step back, Baker Mayfield, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The former #1 overall pick, the quarterback Cleveland cast aside, the guy who bounced from Carolina to Los Angeles, has finally, seemingly, found a home in Tampa Bay. To his credit, he stabilized a team that was supposed to be spiraling post-Brady. He led them to a division title and played the kind of football that made people remember why he was once a top draft pick in the first place. Unfortunately, with offensive coordinator Liam Cohen moving across the state to take the head job for the Jaguars, and his star receivers Mike Evans and Chris Godwin another year older, I think it's reasonable to maybe expect Baker to regress a bit this season. Step forward, Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs. Alright, yeah, this one might sound a little bit weird. I mean, how can Mahomes take a step forward when he's already the best dang QB on the planet? Well, I mean, for starters, he could put up the kind of season that forces the media to stop pretending that there are better quarterbacks out there. Between all the noise on the internet and TV, factored into the embarrassment that he suffered during the Super Bowl, expect Mahomes to enter 2025 on a full-blown revenge tour, determined to remind everyone exactly who he is as a player. And for all the noise about a down year, he still completed just under 70% of his passes for 4,607 yards and 31 touchdowns to 13 picks, with the bulk of those coming in the first half of the season. Mahomes is still Mahomes, regardless of what happened in this past Super Bowl. So look for him to come out on a revenge tour that should strike fear into the hearts of opponents across AFC and the broader NFL landscape. Mahomes is primed for a big statistical bounce back and, most likely, another deep playoff run. Step back, Matthew Stafford, QB. Matthew Stafford is one of the toughest quarterbacks in the league. He played through injuries, bad rosters, and years of mediocrity in Detroit, and he still managed to win a Super Bowl with the Rams. But here's the reality. He's another year older, and his favorite weapon is now gone. Granted, he still has a superstar in Puka Nacua, but Cooper Kupp was his go-to guy, his safety net, the receiver he had unbelievable chemistry with. And now, he's been pushed out the door. Yeah, Los Angeles has one of the top offensive minds in Sean McVay leading the way, but eventually it's gonna get dark in the twilight of Stafford's career. And based off how he performed for the bulk of last season, this could be that year. So, expect another year of occasional flashes of the player that he used to be, with even more frustrating games mixed in. Step forward, Jordan Love, Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love wasn't just good in the second half of the 2023 season, he was sensational down the stretch. Over his final 8 games, Love put up 18 touchdowns to just 1 interception, leading the Packers to a playoff berth and a dominant wildcard win in Dallas, where he outdueled Dak Prescott in his own building, which played a significant role coming into the 2024 season, where everyone had him firmly established in elite quarterback status. Unfortunately, things didn't exactly go as planned. Love battled a few nagging injuries and was continually plagued by the interception bug. It wasn't horrible, but it didn't quite meet the expectations that emerged after his impressive end to the 2023 season. The other interesting piece is that Love took a lot of heat for the Packers' playoff exit, but considering how Mahomes looked against that same Eagles defense, well, this one has actually aged pretty well. So, look for Love to get back on track in a major way in 2025. Step back, Kyler Murray, Arizona Cardinals. Kyler Murray came out firing to start 2024, and you know, for a minute, it looked like he might actually drag Arizona into the playoff picture. But, as is often the case with Murray, those wheels came off fast. Murray just had no answers offensively and found himself in third and long situations way too often. And instead of making quick decisions, he just hesitated a lot. Murray has all the talent in the world. He's got the arm, he's got the mobility, and he's got the playmaking ability. But he just really struggles to process defenses quickly. He still holds on to the ball for way too long. And when things break down, he reverts to backyard football mode, which rarely works against top-tier defenses. Unless Murray underwent some major changes this offseason, there is no reason to expect he does anything but continue to disappoint out in the desert. In fact, we believe we might see him take another step back as his act continues to get stale in the locker room. And of course, opposing defenses continue to wise up to the clear patterns in his game. But hey, which quarterback do you think is the most poised to take a big step forward? Who do you think is going to take a big step back? Which guys do you think we're right on here? Who do you think we got wrong? Is there anyone that we may have missed? Let us know in the comment section below. If you liked this video and learned a thing or two, then clicking the like button helps us out a ton. And you know, we really appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, then subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.